This here is a photograph I shot in Nikko, which is a small town north from Tokyo. It's a popular tourist destination for both international and domestic tourists, and back in September I had the pleasure of seeing the place. Melly and I, plus our two friends Johnny and Hika, went on a day trip out of Tokyo up north to the Tochigi prefecture to check out the sights of Nikko and have some fun with photography. I of course had my Pentax K1000 with me, plus the little Olympus XA3, and in this video I'm taking you with me and sharing the photos I was able to capture on this fine day. Let's go!
Leaving all my worries, I prepare for something new. Whatever it was that held me back, I'm sure it wasn't true.
The day started off early as we caught some trains that would take us to Nikko in good time. My photography, however, could not wait for our arrival, and I just went ahead shooting at this spot already where we were just waiting around for a change of trains. I just liked this scene with the greenery in this park and the buildings in the background, and the one person on the side adding a character to the photograph, which I always enjoy. I'd say we're off to a good start.
I'm moving on.
We arrived in Nikko. The station isn't really all too special, and we sort of swiftly walked down the main road which leads to the famous spots. One of the first sort of famous sites in Nikko is this beautiful red bridge that crosses a cute river. From here you can enter an old-looking, quiet area in which you pass through some bits of forest and move from shrine to shrine and kind of suck up the feeling of history in Nikko.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll get it. I like it. Oh, there it is. Breaks.
What is this?
It's like an energy drink. Real good.
Not sponsored. Please take the advertising sip, or you're not drinking it. There's no...
Then, as we came out of the forest, we found ourselves on what I believe was a parking area, mainly for the tour coaches bringing tourist groups to the place. I had spotted a potential photograph at this little building here, and I think this shot turned out pretty cool. I just like to shoot scenes with people who happen to be positioned in some balanced way, which I think worked out so nicely here. It's two pairs of people, and the two guys on the left are slightly hidden but not covered by the building to the extent that they lose their weight in the composition. And then a minor detail I enjoy is the splashes of red and orange made by the Coca-Cola bench and the cones on the right. So while this shot is not the most beautiful in terms of lighting and such, the composition is pretty fun, I find, which I appreciate.
Oh, you mean this big boy? Yeah. Whoa!
We continued our exploration and passed by a cute garden and a pond with koi fish swimming in it. Next to the garden there was this red temple, and as I saw these people with umbrellas passing by, I thought this could maybe make for a nice shot. And now, looking at the result, I like the idea, but I'm afraid it didn't quite work out the way I would have liked it to. I do enjoy how the three people with the umbrella are spread in the frame, with each having a different distance to the camera, which adds this dynamic feeling to the composition. But at the same time, it feels out of balance somehow. I'm not sure, maybe I'll like it more after some time, but for now I feel a little indecisive on this one. Then, before we continue, here's a quick ad break to fund the channel. Before we continue, I want to take a moment to thank the continued sponsor of the channel, Squarespace. Squarespace is an easy-to-use all-in-one website platform. I've been using Squarespace for my website for over 5 years now, and I'm still so happy with it, mainly because it's so easy. I use my Squarespace website as a portfolio where I showcase projects of mine. However, you can build pretty much anything on Squarespace, be it a simple blog or an online shop or a site for bookings if you're a freelancer. To make things even easier, Squarespace has released their AI design feature called Design Intelligence, which you can use instead of a template. You can basically build the entire basis of your website with the help of an AI tool which will ask you a couple questions, and that's it. But if you'd prefer to start off from a template, that's of course still possible. After selecting a template, it's very easy and intuitive to customize the web design to your liking thanks to their drag and drop editor called Fluid Engine. I seriously love it that they have created this tool that makes the process of being creative while making a website not feel slow or tedious, even though I'm not a web developer. I recommend that you try it out yourself. You can head to squarespace.com for a 14-day free trial, by the way, and then when you're ready to launch your website, you can go to squarespace.com/TheoCrawford to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for continuously supporting the channel and my work here. I really appreciate it. Then we came to the big gravel path, which I believe is the main path that leads deeper to the various temples, shrines and pagodas. A pretty common thing you see here in Japan is a group of students on a school trip to historically relevant places such as Nikko. And aside from the opinions one might have on the school uniforms, as a photographer, I must say I really like how this uniformed, smart-looking group passes through the scenes here, and so I found myself taking a couple photos including the group.
Someday I will see the whole field through today. I've got better things to do all day to leave a little bit.
This is another one of those shots in which I enjoyed placing the subject in a rather small manner in a large scene. So here, the stage, if you will, consists of the stairs and the wall at the bottom, the ground in the middle with the red fence behind that adds a nice pop of colour, and then the forest behind that covers the upper half of the image. And then on this stage are almost quite subtly the guy with the dog and the two ladies chatting under the roof on the left side of the frame. I tend to like these kind of detailed photos at times, and I think this one falls under that category. Then here we had come to the busiest spot it seems, where I took this shot which I quite like. Do you know those paintings that depict a wide shot of a scene, but it's full of little details, usually people, and you can just stare at the painting and wander from subject to subject? I like to sometimes try to recreate something similar in photography, and I think this sort of goes in that direction. Instead of trying to photograph this place devoid of tourists, I like the idea of embracing the reality of this place being a popular tourist destination and photographing just that. I do of course try to wait for a moment in which I feel like there is a sense of balance in the composition, and I think it worked out quite nicely in this photograph. And then in a similar vein, I shot this photo, which is full of stuff going on. I really like this one, and I remember that the impulse that made me want to shoot this was the kids with the red caps, which is a nice colour match with the red pagoda in the background.
Where are the kids playing?
Yes.
a little later, we came to this spot where I found this nicely framed bunch of sake barrels with a bike in front of them. I waited around for a bit in case something else happens, and I got lucky. The owner of the bike came back and hopped onto the bike, and that is when I got this shot. I really like this one. There's a sense of symmetry in the composition with the centre framed barrels and the one tree on each side. The guy on the bike then just adds that cherry on top for me that makes the photograph more interesting, in my opinion.
Oh, that one's nice. I like that one.
By this time, we were getting a little hungry, and so we decided to go eat some soba at this place that we just coincidentally came across.
Oh, you don't like that? I think I'll just take the two.
After lunch, we caught a bus that would take us all the way to the Kegon waterfalls, which was more or less the last thing we wanted to check out before the sun sets.
That's a very good temperature. That's what said, Fahrenheit. Yes. Everything is like sound.
At the site, we slowly approached the ticket gate, enjoying the streets and views on the way. It was here that I spotted something that could maybe be a nice photo. There were these school kids, again, all wearing a yellow cap this time so that the teacher can easily find them, and then there was this other guy close by with a yellow t-shirt, which made it quite inviting to shoot another shot with a colour match. I like the result. Even though the colour match is only subtle, the photo overall still turned out pretty interesting, I find, with the bushes and the yellow guy in the foreground and the rest of the scene and the kids with the yellow caps in the background.
Kaleidoscope, both of us changing our pattern with every spin. Kaleidoscope, glass bits and pieces from planets that I've never been. I am fixated on every new shape.
The waterfall was pretty cool, and I really enjoyed being among the other tourists here. Japan is the country of cameras, and it is common to see people enjoying photography as a hobby. At least it is more common here than in Austria. I always enjoy that feeling when in Japan to be one of many who enjoy bringing along a camera to these places. However, the photos I shot didn't really turn out particularly remarkable, I find. After that, we briefly checked out the lake nearby, where we got to see some incredible light rays, which I didn't shoot, by the way, because the lighting didn't really look like something that the film would capture that well, and so I didn't think it would really be worth it, so I enjoyed the sight just with my eyes. After that, we took the bus back to Nikko as the sun slowly set behind the mountains. We were getting pretty tired at this point, and seeing as it was dark now, this kind of just marked the end of the day and our trip. It was a fun little excursion. I can definitely recommend it in case you're ever travelling in Japan and you want to escape the big city of Tokyo. Nikko is pretty cool. I had a lot of fun shooting, of course, and luckily I was able to get a couple decent shots while at it. I hope you too had a good time and enjoyed coming along in the video. If you did, I look forward to sharing more journeys with you in future videos, and before saying goodbye, I would like to say thank you to the lovely people supporting me and my work on Patreon. Thank you so much to each one of you. If you're interested in Lightroom presets, tutorials and stuff like that, you can check out my page via the link in the description. Also, I have a print shop, by the way, in case that is of interest to you, also in the description. With that said, I hope to see you again soon. Until then, goodbye.